Hello, my name is Laureen Rama. I own Eco-Friendly Landscapes in Calgary, and I'm here in my front yard to give you some tips on putting your yard to bed for the fall and winter. Now, this is the latest fall, that I can remember in Calgary. It's October 9th today, and we still have blooming flowers. But I will give you tips now anyway, even though we haven't done all of our yard cleanup. So people ask me, what do we do with the leaves in the fall? And the best thing to do really is rake them into your garden beds where you have perennials. And that's what I've done in our front lawn here. The trees came from the birch tree. And those will protect the perennials in the winter from the cold. Put it a few inches thick, and then in the spring, if it's still too thick there, you can put it in your compost bin, but it probably is going to break down and just be added to the wood chip mulch as good mulch there that we have protecting the beds. And then another thing is we want to water in the trees. So this is our magnificent birch tree in our front yard, and it does really well as a birch because it's at the end of a downspout. But even so, before the winter, we want to water it in. So what you do is put the hose on, in this case I'm emptying the rain barrel, at a trickle. So there it is, it's just trickling at the drip line. So, and I'm going to move that around maybe every half hour or so. But the drip line is where the water would drip off the tree if it were raining. And that's where the most absorptive roots are. So that's where you want to trickle water it in. So in this case, I've put the hose there, and then I'm going to move it down around to about here, and then down again to match the drip line of the tree. And I'm going to let that water go for a couple of hours. And if the rain barrel gets empty, then I'll put our garden hose on. We still have our hoses because we've only connected because we've only had frost, very light frost, twice this fall. So you want to trickle water in your big trees before it gets frosty. So in terms of the stalks of your perennials, what I like to do is actually just leave them and then cut them back in the spring. There's the thing with the little white balls there is a spring aster. So that's looked like that since about July. And leaving the stalks on, one, it'll help collect snow, and snow is a good insulator for the perennials for the cold. And it also provides some food for birds in the winter. So there's our lavender still there, you can see. We've got hydrangeas still blooming, dianthus still blooming. We have a rose. Here we cut back the blue sage a bit and the geranium because they were looking pretty scraggly, but mostly we left them. If you do cut the stalks back, then you would do that in the spring, or if you do need to do it in the fall, you'd cut them back to 4 to 6 inches from the ground. So this is an example of where the stalks have been cut. This is a little longer than 4 to 6 inches, but we can cut them back a little bit more in the spring. Now here I'm going to show the trickle watering again. So we have two trees here. That's a hawthorn on the left and an apple on the right. And I left the hose trickle watering right between them at the drip line. I'm going to move that around too. This is our apple tree. So in about a week, we're going to prune it. And we once let it get too big. It really shouldn't be that big for an apple tree because we have to climb into it to pick the apples. But what we'll do is just take the higher branches off and the branches that are growing into the tree, like this one. Because with your fruit trees, you don't want to have too many branches, and you'll get better fruit production. It'll be easier to pick if you've pruned it down. So, great. One other thing you can do with your leaves that I've done in the past is you can bag them up, put them in garbage bags, and then put a little bit of water and poke a little hole in the bag, and you will have great compost for the fall. So with your leaves, it's really great to save them to add to your compost. What we do is we have a 3-bin composter pile. This is our active bin, and we have greens in there. So right now there's carrot stalks from the garden, and then in the winter we will put our kitchen waste in here, and then we have these leaves right next door. They were collected last year that we can just put on top of that kitchen garbage, and we have a bin over there that we put leaves in that's even easier to put the kitchen garbage in. So that way you can keep your compost going, and even in the summer it's great to add in leaves with your kitchen garbage to have a good balanced mix. And having this 3-bin composter means we can have an active pile, and then below those leaves in the second bin we have compost that we turned that wasn't quite finished, and we'll turn that again, and it should be finished for next year. And then in the last bin we have finished compost, but it's pretty much empty now, ready for the next batch. So one other thing to do is empty your rain barrels for the winter, and in our case we leave them out for the winter, just empty them to the tap there, and then we divert the water with this Y diverter so that it runs into the downspout, not the rain barrel in the winter. And we will detach that plastic downspout filter there for the winter too, so it lasts longer. So those are the tips for putting your yard to bed. We haven't done it all yet because it's a late fall, which is gorgeous. And enjoy putting your yard to bed, and have a wonderful winter. Bye.